All right, what's up? It's Jackson with First Class Business, and welcome to our evaluation of ClickUp, Asana, Process Street, Go High Level, and a number of other systems. But in this case, we're going to focus a lot of the attention on ClickUp. ClickUp's this amazing system if you haven't seen it before, kind of like everybody's gravitating towards it and everybody's really hyped it up, but don't be too quick to jump over. Hear me out, because I think it's really important that you understand how why I think people are gravitating towards this system. I also was one of the firm believers who was like, man, this system's going to be amazing. I can't wait to dive in. I also launched Monday. It's just going to take me right to that. I also launched Monday.com. Let's do this. We'll pull up. Oh man, I didn't think about that. I'm on a Loom screen share. I wonder if it will. It'll probably let me do the new incognito window and still share my screen. I hope so. I'm going to pull up ClickUp so you can take a look at it from the outside. And the reality is they do a great job of showing you what you can do with this and like how great their support is. They're super fun. They're super enthusiastic. And at the end of the day, what I feel is true is that their salesmanship is far superior to their product. And now that doesn't mean I want to trash ClickUp. There's plenty of use cases. We have a client using it super well. They've built out some very intricate systems in there, and it's certainly worth considering when you're building out your operations. But for what my team's operations need from a project management standpoint, it's just too clunky. There's too many buttons to click. There's too many options. There's not enough infrastructure, and worse, there's too many bugs. And I hope they fix that. I'm not going to be able to show you too many bugs today, but I will show you some of the awkward user interface aspects. So like if I go to create a simple task for a team member, yes, I can like grab the team member here. Woo, it's going to go to me. It's going to ask me. It's going to go whoever on my team. And then I can even start the process of creating a subtask, right? So subtask for Jackson. Wait a second. What? Why would I have to write Jackson's name here? Oh, because you can't actually like assign it to somebody right away. That doesn't make sense. I guess I'll save that information, but now I'm gonna have to figure out a new interface how to assign it. And okay, for at least for this task, I can go ahead and create, select a date for when it's due. And I selected the date, but it still says in the calendar. I guess I can sit here indecisively, go back and forth until I want to close this stupid window. But once I close this window and I go to create the task, it won't let me create the task. I have to select the list first, and then first I have to get used to what a list is, which is divided into certain different types of folders. And I'm like, all right, fine. So and then I have to figure out, all right, I don't know if I want this task in my marketing department or my operations department yet, because it really overlaps both. And so now my brain that was very focused on getting something done, and I need to get this jotted down and move forward, is stuck trying to organize prematurely. It's not ready yet. Let me freaking make it first, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Let me stop whining, go to just add it to a random task list, which what I did last time. And I go to, let's see, I bet it would let me create it, but do I want to create and open it? Do I want to create and start another? Do I want to create and duplicate it? Again, my brain is just like, why? Why so many options? Why not just take me to the next interface where I can think clearly and move forward? So I guess we'll do create. Uh-oh. Oh no, I created and it's gone. Now I'm freaking out and panicking. And I'm like, where did I save that? Where did that go? Okay, well, shoot, the pop-up window's gone now. I had to move the Loom thing and I didn't get there in time. And so thank goodness when I did this earlier, I remembered what I was working on and saw that, okay, in their search, at least it pulls it up first. But what a ton of freaking anxiety just to get a basic task put together and done. And my team, we moved to this so that my team could have an easier time than they've had in Asana. And they're all new, not all new. The ones I'm referring to, the team members I'm referring to, they're new to project management. They're new to using systems like this. And I started them out on Asana. I got them moved over here because it was supposed to be easier and better. And they've all really not liked the transition. And then I've had other people who haven't used Asana who've gotten here and are like, man, I can't find things. I can't do this. And now I put them on Asana and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a breath of fresh air. This is way easier to use. So here's the neat thing about technology. Technology changes every single day. And every single month they're making updates, and we're getting faster. It's getting easier to code and make things. So with my assessment, it's very possible that ClickUp begins to outpace Asana and begins to grow at a faster rate than Asana does because they have the salesmanship to do so. I don't know too much about the culture of Asana. It's a big company. It's been around for a while. They're probably building really well, but they're more like an aircraft carrier compared to ClickUp. That's more like a fancy jet ski. And so ClickUp's got this ability to like move and to build quickly, but they also don't have the infrastructure, the stability that an Asana does. And yes, it makes it more nimble, but that also makes it just that much easier to accidentally dislodge their customers and make you fall off the track. So, if I want to add somebody to this list that's a guest, I haven't played with guests too much in Asana, but it's really annoying that I can't just add them right from here. Like they make it so hard to share, and I had to go research this, how you figure it out. And okay, well, I'm going to get Zach on here then. And so I've got Zach now. I got to click this button to share it with him, but it doesn't really share it with him yet. I got to share it with him here. And then once I've got him here, now I can go over here and assign him to it. And I guess it's kind of neat that you can assign multiple people. See, you can assign multiple people to the same task, but then you don't have a point person taking care of that task. It's fine to have multiple people assigned to a project, but assigning multiple people to a task, you also need to then decide who the point person is, who's the person responsible, so that you don't have too many chiefs and not enough Indians. So probably not a politically correct statement these days. So let me go look at like one of our projects now. Let's go into our spaces. So first we created spaces we tried to create it based on teams, but then it turns out that even though it says it allows you to play with teams, ClickUp doesn't. You have to go in here to create teams, and it's so stupid. On our version, we were able to create one team, and you have to go all the way under people. You get the teams. You can create one. When you go to create another, it's like, hey, you have to upgrade, and we're already on one of their upgraded plans. So it's like, why do you have to put us through that? So we figured out the fact that you can't actually have teams in ClickUp, which really bothered me because that's how I operate our organizations, breaking things down by teams. But we created spaces based on our teams. So now that we got our head wrapped around how spaces work, and we've got like our infrastructure as we build out our little company, I've got these different lists that have like section headers. And the one reason why I switched to this, the big reason why I allowed our handy developer to convince me to move over to this was because he said that yes, we can complete projects and in this. Well, it turns out they don't even have projects in this, which is kind of annoying. They've got lists and they've got folders. And so for a person who and I didn't like that about Asana either. I was like, why the heck can't I complete a project? I want to be able to keep track of, and again, if I'm wrong on this, correct me, like comment, just blast me in the comments, like, no, here's how you do it, dummy. And I'll be so happy. But we could not find a way in either system to complete the project. And I wanted to complete the project, and I want to mark the project as successful, as delayed, being able to evaluate and take notes about how our team performed so that we're constantly evaluating our progress and getting better, or gauging whether we're not getting better, so that we can then decide to either make moves to get better or accept our status quo, our benchmark, and reset our expectations and realities as a team. So very annoying that in here you can add a description, you can add a comment even to the tasks list, but you can't really close it out. You can archive it. Again, that's what Asana allows you. I've talked to the reps and they're like, oh, well, you can archive it. I'm like, I don't want to archive it. I want to archive it, and I want to mark whether we completed it or whether we left it unfinished. How many times do you start a project and not finish that project because it wasn't worth finishing? You just needed to archive it and move on. I want to make notes on it, make notes that we did not complete this project, and here's why we abandoned it, or here's what we shifted or moved towards. It is so important to document that from a case study standpoint, from an internal perspective standpoint. One of my team members got upset with me because I have a tendency to change tasks rather than complete them. I will change the name of the task and then make them kind of redo it. And she brought up a great point. It wasn't fair because then she doesn't feel like she gets things done during the day. And for some of us, it's like, well, that button's just a button. It doesn't really mean anything. But from a psychological standpoint, from a winning perspective, it definitely can feel so much better to complete things. And that's why they all incorporate cute little things like the unicorn that flies across the screen in Asana, and they do something similar to that in ClickUp too. But let me dive into one other element. Like, let's go ahead and just create a mind map, because I was like, well, this will make it worth it. We'll stay here for the mind map. And so I added that view and decided, yeah, let's go ahead and create one, explore any idea, and create tasks from any node, visual representation of existing folders, list. No, let's go ahead and just create a blank one. So we're going to create a mind map. And I was like, okay, so I want to create an organizational board of who's in what position, right? That's one of the things I like to build these mind maps. And I was like, all right, so to let me create this and add, okay, that's easy enough. I can click, okay, I can, wait a second. How do I move that to where this mind map goes from top to bottom instead of left to right? You can't, as far as I can tell. There's no way to do that. So it's too rudimentary. So I was like, well, I guess we'll stick with Whimsical then. Lucid Chart's great too, by the way. Whimsical, Lucid Chart, any company I mentioned or software mentioned, you may want to write it down because it could come in handy to know, especially if you're a growth consultant. I would write all those down and make sure that you're familiar with them, because they're some of the leaders of the pack in terms of organizational development. So ClickUp, man, I'm sorry to be hating on you guys. I hope y'all might hate me forever. The point is not to hate. The point is to help you guys prioritize whether you want to develop the stuff or not, because your tools just aren't as awesome as you sell them out to be. And the reality is, when we start building infrastructures in these systems, then it becomes very hard to determine that you want to take the Band-Aid off, because it's no longer a Band-Aid. You've been stitching and stitching and stitching and stitching, and now you got 20, 30, 3,000 stitches built in, and it becomes hard to move. So the sticky point is, everybody hates CRMs, everybody hates project management systems and hates setting them up. So if your system's that hard to set up and then to get into, then you're not going to want to move and shift gears. And that can benefit developers like us who are willing to go in and help orchestrate and build things out. But if that's the business model, that's not one I'm willing to support. If the business model, however, says, hey, this is great user feedback, and they want to adjust these aspects and they want to create a proper development track to prioritize these types of tickets because there's strong benefits that would help everybody win and succeed, then by all means, make sure to take action like that. That's something I can praise all day long. So we will be using ClickUp because of one of our clients that's heavily embedded in it, and we will be having our eye on it and supporting others that already have the infrastructure set up. But if today you were at the point where you're trying to choose, do I go with Asana or do I go with ClickUp? I would say hands down, you should definitely go with Asana. It's night and day, easier to use, has all the same features that you would need, doesn't need all the bells and whistles that ClickUp apparently provides. But we've been so limited by the system and so frustrated with attempting to learn it as people who use lots of systems like this, Teamwork, Zapier, Go High Level. There's so many things that we're using that it's been a huge disappointment. Honestly, we've been oversold, and it's been an under delivery experience. And then they have this negotiating thing at the front. They're not going to negotiate with you, especially if you're a small guy. If you have less than 100 users, they don't care. So it's a really lame kind of scammy way to try to get people on board and engaged. I did it because why not? I might get a couple bucks off, but I also get to know people in the company and see what type of sales reps they are. Good sales reps. But I have a feeling the sales team is a bit like Yelp's sales team. Yelp is a necessary evil in the business world. I cannot stand that system, and their sales reps are devious. So be very careful when you're talking to them, because they will flat out lie to you to get your business or to get you to upgrade and stuff. I'm not saying ClickUp will. I'm saying I got that same type of feeling that this is a sales hungry company, and hopefully they use that salesmanship, that ability to convince, that power to manipulate, that power to influence. Hopefully they use it for good. That's what I hope. But that will be determined over the coming years as they continue to operate. So what the heck is Process Street? Process Street is a very simple system, a very easy to use system for setting up workflows that make people happy because they don't have to be involved in the back-end process. You can set this up with one person. This ultimately, I like to use Google Drive personally for setting up processes, but most people don't want to mess with the liability and the ins and outs of Google Drive and all the features, this just simplifies building out HR. And they've got great libraries in here for, you can come in, and when you want to build a new process, you can start from a template, and they've got lots of templates in terms of like building out human resources, IT. These are their strengths, by the way. Finance, real estate, sales. So you click on one of these, it will show you what the workflow looks like, and what automations exist and play with it as well. And the nice thing is when you hit run the workflow and you have it set up with your customized individual needs, then it will assign that one run to that employee. And that employee has to check the boxes of where they're at. And it gives you a report of how far they've gotten through that process. So you can see, are your employees taking responsibility for the things that they need to learn in order to fulfill their tasks? Now, if you have a business that it has an employee that doesn't have tasks that are that critical, then maybe that's not super important to you. But I see a lot of companies from solar to security sales that do a piss poor job of making sure their employees are well trained and actually taking responsibility. And eventually you suffer the consequences of that, especially if you don't have business insurance. Look out, lawsuits, here they come. Now, in terms of one of our clients is a mortgage broker, their loan officers have to be licensed, have to be brought up to speed. This is an incredibly valuable and important process that they totally understand the value of having. So we've been building out Process Street for them. I absolutely love it. It's very easy to use. And as I mentioned, if you're not a process person, I tend to build from scratch because I've been building businesses for a long time. But the beautiful thing about it is my team members are able to go to these templates as well. And then what we do is we take what I've learned in terms of building out organizations with extreme hospitality. We take the template and then we model and basically just pull the two together. That way we get the best of both worlds, and a working flow that is easy to build on, but we're inserting our personality into it so that we're taking it up a notch every step of the way. So those are some of the systems that I'm trying to remember. Go High Level was another one that I could showcase, but I'm just going to wrap this up for now. If you want me to do a Go High Level video and talk about the difference between that and other sales process systems or CRMs, then I'd be happy to. I've used Close.io, I've used Nutshell CRM. In fact, I was one of the original users of that program. I've built CRMs for restaurants. I've built CRMs for HVAC companies. I've used HubSpot. I've used Salesforce quite extensively. Go High Level, I'll just leave it at this, is we have a white labeled version of it. So that's helpful too, because you can make some money on it. But they have that salesmanship, but they also seem to have the service. And they've pulled so many systems together, that can replace things like MailChimp, or replace your, so your email marketing, your text marketing integrates with SendGrid and Twilio and Mailgun. There's different systems that go into play to make sure that all flows. But I found a lot of support from users and I've made a lot of friends that have helped with that process. Whereas before I was using a lot of different systems from ActiveCampaign and Infusionsoft to there was one other one, Pilot HQ. I think it was Autopilot HQ. Again, all good systems. Samcart, they all offer lots of value and can add in their 2 cents, but it's so easy to get lost in the world of systems, and it's so hard to know how to tie it all together. So you've got a functional bridge. And if you go through firstclassbusiness.io, especially go to like our services catalog page and even just ask for a quote or a proposal from us, you'll see how we've been able to get our systems all together. And we're a young company. We launched our company in September. Granted, I've been building this company like behind the scenes, the folders and the processes for it for more than 7 years. And Todd also had the idea of launching a similar business model, which is why we joined forces. But as far as like an official company established date and working and operating and bringing on clients, we just started this past September, and it's February, and we've got an onboarding process that is unparalleled. I haven't seen anybody with an onboarding process as strong, as fluid, as seamless, as efficient as what ours is. And we're not content with it. We want to keep building upon it and make it better and better and better, because that's how you scale. You work out the friction. You think of it like a slide. that people have to go down. You don't want anybody to get a splinter in the process of going on that slide. That ruins the experience 100%. Just one splinter. We want to make sure it's that great that everybody goes down smoothly. But how many people can get on that slide at once? You have to expand the slide. You have to expand the doorway. You have to have multiple entry points. Pipelines, there's a reason why their pipeline deals exist, and it's referred to as such. Funnels, there's a reason people call it that. In all reality, think of your business as like a private island that nobody would want to go to because there's no real resources on it. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows why it would be valuable to swim out there, get over there. You have to build a bridge that connects it. And the stronger the bridge and the more glorious the arrival and the more entry points people have to get there, the better your business is going to do. And Google is fantastic at that, which is why people go to Google over and over and over and over and over and over again, is because people see that island of a resource and they're like, man, I got to go there. And Google takes you there, not just with a slide, not just with a bridge, but they've got things that take you back faster and faster every step of the way. In fact, every time I say it, my phone blinks because it's trying to get through and hear what I want to say to give it a command. So that process, that vision, that engineering, all of that really has to come together. All these systems, they have to pull together in a way that makes sense, that makes you more effective and more efficient, not bogging you down, slowing you down, not just because some mentor or mastermind guy said that, oh man, you really would benefit from having this tool. No, the toolboxes are many and the tools are even more. You have to be using those tools the right way for people to want to come visit your workshop and say, hey, I want this, visit your island and say, hey, I need that, help me out. So a lot of insight for today, a lot of system stuff. If all that overwhelms you, but you made it through this, by all means, tap out, come get an appointment with me. And we'll shift gears and talk about, based on your vision, based on your legacy, based on what you're striving to build, what does the revenue forecast look like? What is the potential for your business? And would we want to be involved? And if you have a business model that's something we're confident we can scale up to a massive degree where we can all make a ton of money and make a big difference, then by all means, why would we not want to work with you? So let's just start a conversation from there. Please fill out your strategy session form to the best of your ability if you are going to meet with us. That way we can take your business model seriously. There's nothing to hide. We're not going to hide anything either on our end. We just want to have a very open, candid conversation about growth, because if we don't get to the depths of what you're doing and how things are working, and you're not honest and open about what your weaknesses are, how in the world are we going to assess how we're going to be of value to and how you're going to benefit from working with us? So give us a shot, test us out. Let's have a great conversation and let's make awesome legacies together. Have a great day. Bye-bye.